Monsieur le modérateur,
dear moderator
de ce deuxième panel,
of this second panel,
sera le directeur général
the moderator will be the managing
du
director
National pour l'emploi
of the National Fund for Youth,
Landry, IVALA,
Mr. Landry IVALA,
qui est déjà installé.
who is already on the
Nous
stage.
savons que Madame
We know that Madam Jai, who should do a communication on behalf of the National Agency for Youth Employment Promotion, couldn't travel to Conakry. I invite Sambala SIDIBE from Mali to come to the stage in order to join the moderator. And the second panelist, Mr. Modeste Bithoko from the DRC, from the agency for the employment in Congo. We kindly ask him to join the moderator on the stage. And this third panelist, Mme Sonia KOUASSI, from the Youth Employment Agency of Côte d'Ivoire, is also invited to join the stage. And finally, we have Mr. Akleso Mama Kao, in charge of program for the support to development and employment at the National Agency for Employment in Togo. Is he in the room? Is Mr. Kao in this room? I don't think so. So, Mr. Moderator, I think that as for now, among 5 panelists, we are lucky enough to have 3 of them.
Merci.
Thank you, Mr. SIDIBE, for this presentation. We're going to start the second panel of the day. And we would like to remind that this panel is entitled the SE Action, the Public Services of Employment on the development of green employment and Jamena recommendations. We remember that we were in Jamena in 2018. And without delay, we're going to give the floor to the first panelist, Mr. Sambala SIDIBE, for his presentation. It will be done in 10 or 15 minutes. And as we started this morning with the first channel, and we're going to give the possibility after each presentation to the attendees, to the participants, the experts that are in the room, and to be able to have to exchange with the panelists. Mr. SIDIBE, you have the floor. Thank you, and evening, everybody. As I said, my name is Sambala SIDIBE, head of Department for the Promotion of Employment at the National Agency for Employment in Mali, ANPE. I'm going to talk with you on the experience of our agency in terms of employment, green employment. For the presentation, we will do a presentation of our agency, an introduction and the presentation of our agency, the experience that we have in this field. Among them, these experiences, we have chosen 3 experiences. And for the introduction, I would like to join my words to my predecessors to share to support the people of Guinea regarding the situation that we have known yesterday, and congratulate the organizers of this conference, and thank the organizers and Guinea authorities. And for the context, just to tell you that, as we said, it is held just after the COP28 that have adopted the topic of this panel derives from the willingness of authorities to make sure that the employment, youth employment be implemented in our various countries. It's not, it's true that at the green employment has been shared and validated. So it's based upon this, and that the ANPE, it's one of the oldest structures in Mali before independence, and in 1954 and in 1960 after the independence, and it is called Office of the Manpower up to 1980. It's from 1980 before it is now called the National Agency for the Promotion of Employment, and from 2000 in order to harmonize the code, it is called the National Agency for Employment in 2014. For the National Observatory for Employment was created. This is just to show you a summary of the progress of our agency. Regarding the mission, the mission is to implement the national policy for employment, and regarding this, we have the essential missions. After a mission for the promotion of employment and the research of activities related to employment, and a mission of communication and cooperation, and also the reconversion of private sector workers and public workers. So regarding this agency, we have the intervention domains, it's the promotion of employment, the capacity building, cooperation, and studies and research on employment, and also cross-cutting activities. So in order to carry out well its mission, we got 2012 a strategic plan, and we have a strategic plan that dates from 2021. I'm going to talk about ANP for the definition of a green employment was defined by the ANPE director. For us, the promotion of entrepreneurship, we developed some experiences in the domain of employment. We have the structured projects and the partnership, and for the promotion of green employment and photovoltaic. So this is in addition of the tree. Regarding the fruit field that we call Jafrofa, we have been involved in order to encourage the culture of this production, fruit production. We were involved just to promote the culture. It's just to go to the production of seeds we have done in 4 main regions. The first region, the second and the third and fourth region. And these are regions that are in the Sudanian or Silo-Sudanian zone, where we carry out this farming, and also the production we contributed also to install people, to support people in the transformation. It was just to produce oil and produce soap. We also carried out that activity in some localities. And the production of oil, it is just to produce soap, and also install some machines that we call the multi-functional platforms, where you have many units that can produce produce oil, but to produce electricity for the communities. We have also transformation units in Kai, set up in Kai, Central, and the 4 regions that I cited. This is the experience for the. We have a national agency for the development, and the role that we played was key. And also, the second experience is the structuring project. The structuring project is the initiative of the current director of ANPE, who came. He told us, he brought us that idea. The structuring project is a project where we have many sub-projects, that are implemented in the same space. We targeted a certain number of regions for these structural projects. It's the region of Kai, Kulikoro, and the Segu regions. The example is to do the vegetable and other cultures together, meaning that the products help to also to feed animals, and in order to also the products from the and the production of those vegetables can be used for many purposes. This is the figure that shows this cycle. In some regions, we do the same thing in the other localities in order to have a circulating system. This gives the opportunity the third experience is the transformation and valorization of waste. This experience derives from our contribution to the creation of SMEs. The creation of this GE is to intervene in 1993 with youth, to encourage youth to be interested to the sector of waste. We contributed to the creation of GE. They are training to support them and for waste collection. And also, we have also initiative supporting initiative to youth for the production of pavers for speed slowdown. We also did it, and the production of granule. We installed youth the the products that they produce from machines are sold to the units in charge of plastic making, and also the making of bags and any other materials for decoration. We also set up those units for production for youth. We also help them for the valorization of waste. We have a company that is in charge of transforming waste that came to us with an initiative. The initiative, we call it 3 Ps. Small and average enterprises. This initiative was this company could make a call for project. The training side to the entrepreneurship, elaboration of business plan. And the funding of the business plan that is derives from the call of a project will be funded by partner banks. This is what we call FAR, for Fund of Development. It's an initiative or program supported by the government and banking partners that we based upon the plan that we set with the partners called FAR. This 3P project led us to create more than 37 companies. These 37 companies created 250 employment. So this is the third experience. And the second experience for the waste management, in order to conclude, is that the experience for the green employment, what we have presented is varied. There are some initiatives that we didn't present here, but these experiences have the advantage to create companies that exist already and to make them sustainable. At this level, we can cite we have the bio for the production of biofuel. It has been created by the government. This agency is working with I'm going to end my speech with the difficulties. The difficulties is mainly the production machines. This is one thing, and also the market, because we find that the oil that is produced and the biofuel that is to feed the platforms. So these are the difficulties that we have. So we are at your disposal for your proposals, and that can enrich us in our future activities. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you. Mr. Sambala SIDIBE. I remind that Mr. Sambala SIDIBE, Head of Department Promotion of Employment within the Managing Director of the National Agency of Employment of the Republic of Mali. Now, we have a canvas, we have a mission that is to be able, if necessary, revise the recommendation of Jamena. And also the methodology that I propose and that I suggest for you is the following. We are going to give the floor to the participants in order to share with them so that we exchange on his presentation. We have to be very precise so that and also remind the recommendation of Jamena and assess them, knowing that you too you can feed them in order to go through them in order to see if we are on track. And so we're going to give the mobile mic to anyone who would like to ask a question.
Bonjour,
Moni Sagnon. I thank the presenter who has allowed us to present his topic with brio. We have learned about Mali experience. I have one question I would like to know. What interests me is the experience. You have had many partners in order to develop 37 companies, and further to these 37 companies, they have produced 250 employment. The first question, how the guarantee funds that you have set up, how these funds operate, and these companies that have been created as to date, how many exist, still exist, and what the strategy you put in place in order to support those companies. These are the questions that I wanted to put to you. Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you. With Rango from the Agency of Youth Employment. So thanks to Mr. Sambala SIDIBE for his brilliant presentation that is very informative on the projects implemented in Mali. I'm interested particularly to the Zatrufa that allows to produce sugar and fuel, biofuel, if I understand well. I'm interested, I'm going to focus on the fuel. You have the existence of the machines. I would like, I wonder if there is no a problem of sustainability of the project, because if the machines are faulty, the project, the production is stopped. And another element, the production of biofuel. I would like to know if the biofuel is sufficient to be traded, and how do you use the biofuel? Thank you.
Merci.
Okay.
Je félicite
I congratulate Mr. SIDIBE for his presentation. This has gave us insight on the operation of the agency. I have followed him with interest. First of all, I would like a clarification regarding the history of the agency. He talked about the national office, and then and it becomes ONE. I think that I wonder how they move to the first name to the other, while the office is dealing with employment. I think that it is called ONEFOP, and also we deal with employment and manpower. Further to the core, there has been a margin. This called led us to have the ANPE, and you move to another name. I think that there have been changes throughout the years regarding it, and also you took into account the valorization of waste. I would like Mr. Sambala enlighten us, how does it happen? Do you do it in forms of project? Because he's in his presentation, I have understood that this transformation of waste is also done to the entrepreneurship. If it is yes, how
en ce qui concerne le truc de Jatofa également, en ce qui concerne le biocarburant,
regarding the biofuel, I am very interested in it, and also the collect Côte d'Ivoire has done the same. What are the expectations for the collection? This will allow Alpha to be useful in that sector too in Côte d'Ivoire. I'm done. Thank you. From the ONEM of Chad, Jamena, I thank the collaborator for his presentation. There is a point that I got in mind. It's the valorization and the support of the companies. Somewhere in your presentation, I see auto-employment or self-employment. Do you need that the valorization, the support is not taken into account into the self-entrepreneurship? Is it a subvention or a loan or a credit? We're going to start with any last question. Thank you, Mr. Sidibe. My name is Konde. I would like you to enlighten me on the production of on the transformation of waste. How many companies that you have installed in Mali? You would like to install here too, in order to inspire from you. We're going to give the floor. And there is another question. You produce the dioxide of carbon is also So, Mr. Sidibe, you have the floor now. You have a set of questions. And for all those who have asked questions, this means that this has raised concerns. I'm going to respond one by one. For the experience of PAR, it's the fund, autonomous fund for employment. It's an initiative from the agency. It was to resolve the issue of employment of youth when they when youth send the projects to the banks ask them for guarantee. So we set up that funds in order to resolve that issue for the social protection and the chamber of trade and the insurance sector. These are the main actors that supported the ANPE for the creation of this association. This is called guarantee fund. It's a guarantee fund for the project, but when youth entrepreneurs have projects they need, so these funds also covers. So they are organizing an association in order to set up a capital. This is as of to date, this fund exists and it continues to be unfolded. how far is operational. This is an independent and autonomous in its operation. It has a management, and it has a text, legal text, to qualify it. And the operation, I take the example regarding when we submit projects to the bank, and the bank responds to say that they need a guarantee. We send this project to the farm. If the number reach 10, at least as from 10, FAR organize the guarantee. And this credit committee, the one who has brought the project, is here. And the bank to fund the project is here. And the FAR, the management of FAR, is here. And we have the new tools. And the holder of the project will come and present his project. And once this committee validates the project, then they will guarantee to the bank, and then the bank can start funding that project. This is how it works. The 37 companies, do they still exist? I can't say. In majority, yes, we haven't carried out a precise study for it, but to our understanding, the majority of these companies exist, and they have expanded to other regions. All those who are in the valorization of waste, and they have developed, and then they have expanded their activities in other regions. Honestly, we haven't carried out any study in order to know. This is an experience that trained us a lot. It created 250 employments. The mechanism developed in the 3P, I said that the mechanism is a service provider that brought the initiative, and then we set up the program so that all the non-financial aspects will be carried out by the agency. For the call of projects, there is a committee that receives the projects, and the fees will be paid by the agency. When the youth have and the youth holder or project holders are also trained, we pay for that one too. And once we go through all these steps, the funding of the projects are carried out by the bank, and also the follow-up will be done by us, by our agency. Jagrofa sector, and the sector Jagrofa, first of all, this has raised, it was meant to raise, there is an action plan. We contributed to set up for the seeds. People purchase and for the transformation of to biofuel. We developed the experience with LTA laboratory, food laboratory, and we developed the experience. They have expertise, not only technical, but also the machines for the compress, and in order to produce the oil. So all this tool is done by the food lab. And we pay the service, but the technicity is done by them. Once it is produced, the other experience is a zone of Kulikoro called Kelea, a commune of Kelea, where we have, there is a contact with the producer, and the producer has a contact with the one that bring the compress in order to pull out the oil. And the mayor officer was in charge of paying the liter of 1,000. And And the one that is at those levels, these are companies, small companies with fixed employments. And so regarding the national level, and the National Agency for Biofuel approached us. We expanded our experience in some localities in the border with Côte d'Ivoire, and another locality of Côte d'Ivoire with the ANPE. We installed industrial units in order to tell you that the production and the trading of grains, the market is not well organized. This means that the supply is a problem, and this has raised concerns. Some machines today are stopped. So what you have asked, the priority is that there are some grains in the villages. People produce soap, but the process of trading and the transformation is undermined, is broken. The one who was asked the question related to the COD, the technician can give you that response. Regarding the history of ANPE, it was the agency in charge of manpower from 1960. It became the National Office of Employment from 1960 to 1980. When the structural adjustment came, the dimension of employment was added to the office. It became the National Office of Employment. From 2000, it became ANPE. This is the various changes that our agency has gone through. There is a question, the experience, the 3 Ps. Jafrofa was a program, and the 3 Ps is like entrepreneurship projects. It's a project of entrepreneurship where we initiated to segment it and affect a role to each actor regarding the business plan is entrusted to us, and the follow-up is done by us and also the service provider. And so this is what I wanted to make clear. It's not subventions, it's loans. And the non-financial part that is paid by us for the youth, so it's the funding of the projects is done through loans. It depends on the nature. It can be 2 years or 3 years, maximum 5 years, the duration of the project. So I cannot give you the response here. The experience for the production of compost, we do not have experience at ANPE. We tested it, we found that the compost is not profitable, so we were not interested in it. We interested in the selection and the transformation of plastic waste, but not the compost. I can give you an example. We are involved in the implementation of the project for the competence development for youth. It is a World Bank project. I attended to a committee 3 weeks ago. The program of compost came to present, but it was not, people were not interested in it. In in Mali, there are some services that take care of it. It's not the ANPE. So I think that the number of GA in Bamako, it's the companies, it's about 76 in Mali. The Economic Association. For thanks to all those who have asked questions, I can share with you the presentation, the soft copy. Thank you. Can we join our hands for the presenter? We would like to ask a question. Myself, I would like to ask a question. Thank you for the quality of the presentation and also Madam Sise Mamadi, Head of Department for at the AGIP. My question was to know, when you identify the youth that you would like to support, is it in relation to the arrival their service? How do you plan? This is the first question. For their support, is there any abandon? These are the two questions that I would like to put. Thank you. Minister, the experts, quickly, you have the floor. Regarding the first question, you said the planning. We at AGIP, we have the experience that we have. We identify the vulnerable persons in relation of their profile. After the selection criteria and identification, we put them at associations and then we support them based upon the measures, adopted measures. Is it the same approach, or as an entrepreneur, I come, you support me individually, or you set up associations? I think that we at our level is the two. When we launch a call for project, the youth that submit their project, we support them. But beyond it, there are some project holders that come to us to ask us whether we can find funding for them. We can also support. But for the support, those who come to submit their project, we make sure that there is a set of tools that we use in order to make sure that they have obtained for the entrepreneurship. And after this, at the end of this process, some abandon the project before the training. So some people after the training. If I understand well, be it a call for projects or entrepreneurs, it is an individual support. There are some people that organize themselves as a GE or economic groupment or economic association. They come to us, but there are some individuals we support, be it individual or organized in GE or economic. Even people who come from the informal to the formal, it's our duty. It's our duty to support them too. We have a partnership with the National Agency for Investment. We have also one of our staff who is a part of that agency. Mr. Chairman, if you allow me, I don't know if my colleague Sambala said it. At ANP, when we have funding tools, it is two-phased. We have funding of ANPE that provides up to a level, and it is always a loan that needs to be reimbursed. I don't know if the tool has evolved, but individual projects up to 5 million CFA ANPE can provide the funding, but beyond 5 million ANP will call upon the banks to fund. And these are the two ways, the external funding and the internal funding. These are the two ways to fund. It's all these who need capacity building. These are the targets. You will agree with me, Mr. Sidibe. He is a member of ANPE Mali. That's why he took the floor. So quickly, I would like to say that these tools have evolved, has progressed. We are a victim like you when we give 5 million people. We had difficulties when the board of directors estimated that we have hit the threshold about 700 million CFA that was not reimbursed. So the board of directors decided to suspend the internal funding. That's why I didn't talk about it. Otherwise, the internal funding exists, but the board of directors decided to stop it when we reached, it is suspended when we reached 700 million CFA not reimbursed. Now, we're going to give the floor to the second presenter. We're going to give the floor to the lady to present. Modeste Bithoko NTIKIYANZA is going to have the floor. We're going to give her the floor. So I'm going to give to the lady first. Ladies first, I'm going to give the floor to the lady to carry out her presentation. We're going to give the floor to Mme Sonia KOUASSI, Head of Service, Engineering of Projects and the Special Project at the Youth Employment Agency for the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire. Now, Madame, you have the floor.
Bonsoir à toutes et à tous.
The level of the evaluation which is roughly 8 million inhabitants. This year, the President of the Republic in 2023 declared the year for the youth, and we want to accompany the youth in order to have all the, let's say, asset in terms of their participation in development. And this was a part of the New Year speech 2023. So they have come together to produce what we call the youth program for the development that was from 2023 to 2025. So we also have this program for the youth to accelerate the training, the promotion of entrepreneurship, reinforce the partnership with the youth, improve the organization. And this is also taken into account the economic aspect in Côte d'Ivoire. So it is from 18 to 40 years, and from 40 years It is
les actions qui sont menées
there are
par
actions that are taken into account by the youth, and so this is also taken into account, this activity, the level of the youth activities. And what gathers us here today, here in Conakry, so as we know, we talk about development, which the Federation for the professionals regarding this, the three actions. We want to speed up the deployment of the training aspect. That means we want to keep on, follow up to see what we can do in terms of development. We want to speed up the youth insertion. This passing through the program for the training to avoid taking into account one component to develop also the youth entrepreneurship. And this is to be taken into account. The public service can't employ everybody. So all we need to do for now is to take into account the self-employment, to formalize, to have enterprises or companies that are able to ensure this employment aspect. Coming back to the actions, what happened or occurred in N'Djamena in 2018. In N'Djamena 2018, we proposed, Côte d'Ivoire proposed some project regarding the employment, green employment. So taking into account the catalogue with the green employment, we have some employment, how the Ivorian youth be able to understand that there's an employment called GRID, we integrated promotion. When it comes to this, we take into account some document to develop and to take into account some opportunities. And so these are also part of what we call the green employment, build the capacity of the actors. Put in place some mechanisms when it comes to the insertion or integration, to also take into account the integration when it comes to market, the employment, to have interest in this waste management. We also take into account this capacity building aspect, the improvement of the employability. And this document is not available online, and we just try to take into account the popularization of this document. And normally all the ministerial departments are to take into account this aspect, so in the country. So, with the UNITIG document for the promotion, we also identified some aspects, so with specific goals. And so we also try to take into account the solid movement, the reforestation, the green employment also takes into account this aspect up to the level of Côte d'Ivoire, the reforestation in Côte d'Ivoire. This is a policy which is taken into serious consideration, and we intend to reforest more. So with 100 hectares, which would generate about 1,000 employments. So we would like to create 5 units in terms of waste management, create 2 composting centers that will create about 6,000 employments.
So through the solid waste, the creation of this through a development for allocation that will also create about 5,000 employment, taking into account the various sectors, green sectors. I would like to come back to this. Since yesterday, Mr. Maurice said that we were not heard by the youth. And this is we have plenty initiatives in this sector that exist today. And to the level of the youth employment agency that was created in 2015 after the fusion of this youth insertion with the government. So we have the unique window. So we have the mission to create, to train, to inform, to employ, to facilitate access to work, to employment. So at the level of the evaluation of the waste, in 2020 we signed a convention with the National Agency of Waste Management in Côte d'Ivoire. So for the implementation of the income management, the implementation of project, high-risk project in the field of sanitation, the information, the training, the accompaniment, the follow-up, and the fundraising for funding. When it comes to partnership, we participated with the mayor, with the ambassador of Swiss regarding the transformation of domestic waste. So the collection of waste also taking into account the population needs, taking into account the waste, the sanitation, domestic sanitation. Train. We also trained the manpower. We also had some small actions that, as we said yesterday, we have to start somewhere. So we had some steering programs. So the composting, it can work in some region, but cannot work out in some other regions. So with we take it project by project before we go into high scale, taking into account the enterprises, youth enterprises regarding the waste management. With youth, created enterprises that fabricates through the recycled waste. We also trained 180 youth with the compost management, and which is one of the biggest producer of acazou. We also put in place what we call the manpower, the collection of waste, also the management of administrative buildings. This is the experience of Côte d'Ivoire regarding the evaluation of the waste. Is one a part of the experience. Since 2018, we have a center since 2018. I thank you. Thank you, Madame Sonia KOUASSI. So,
je vais faire une petite entorse à nos habitudes. Je vais poser moi-même la première question.
I'm going to ask the first question.
Alors, non, j'étais personnellement
Personally,
sur l'ANAGEP.
I would like to intervene on ANAGEP,
La gestion des
as
déchets
usually the management of the municipality is done by the mayor.
créer une agence nationale
And the Côte d'Ivoire created a national agency of management.
Est-ce que déjà au travers de cette création
Through the creation of this agency, is there not the promotion of the green employment of taking into account the political strategies when it comes to the theme of this? This is a question. Thank you. Okay, I can see some hands that are raised. We have the DG from Niger. Go ahead. Thank you, Madam, for this brilliant presentation. My question is to know regarding the implementation of the composting centers facilitated the creation of employment. What are the strategies and the steps that you intend to put in place to materialize this action? I would like to thank Mme KOUASSI for her brilliant presentation. In her presentation, she talked about a very interesting initiative, which is the implementation of the national agency, knowing that in our countries, more actors intervene in this sector. I would like to have some enlightenment when it comes to the youth. What is given as document? How do you manage when it comes to the ecosystem? Thank you. I would like to come back. The question I would like to raise, why the preference of this village, in this commune, in this municipality? It is because this zone corresponds to the type of activities. Thank you. Thank you, Madam, for the brilliant explanations. I heard speaking about the National Agency for Waste Management that generate employment in terms of the waste management. Is the agency not omitting some employment when we talk about management? It is at the level of the hands. We have a waste in place from the domestic, from homes. Is there no another means from the collection of waste to the management? Is there no employment left behind in terms of the waste management?
Après la production, il y a la collecte.
After the production, there's the
Après la
collection.
collecte, il y a
After
le
the
regroupement.
collection, there's the
Après le
grouping.
regroupement, il y a la discharge. Ainsi
After
de
the
suite.
grouping, there's this
Alors, est-ce qu'il y a pas
throwing.
d'autres
Is there no component
d'emplois qui sont mis de côté
of employment
avant
left
au niveau
aside or
de la
left
gestion?
behind
Comment ça se
in terms
passe?
of the
Comment
waste management?
l'agence tient
How
compte des autres
the
établissements?
agency is
Merci.
taking into account other employment cases.
Alors, deux intervenants encore.
Two
Si
interveners,
Ok, merci.
if possible. Thank you.
Félicitations encore pour
Thank you.
la présentation.
I congratulate you for the presentation.
De l'agence de l'emploi des jeunes au niveau de la Côte d'Ivoire. Effectivement, vous avez bien
So,
développé la
indeed,
présentation en disant que
You talked about
la
this
personne
saying
ne peut pas recruter tout le monde. Et
that
c'est pourquoi vous efforcez de gouverner également
so it is
l'entrepreneuriat.
taking into account the entrepreneurship. I would like to know about the mechanisms to facilitate this. But this is a part of our problems, and that is very interesting. And how is this happening to accompany the youth?
Ah, alors, l'après-midi est prolifique. Nous avons
So we have Mr. SIDIBE. Thank you. Mme Sonia, congratulations for this communication. You precised that the target pupil is estimated to be 40. When you take the market of employment, we have other resources, and these resources are managed by whom? What accompaniment? This component is benefiting, and from whom? And the last question. Thank you, Madame Silla. My question, I focus on the funding mechanisms of the various projects in this digital era. So when you take the employment problems, all the countries, when you take our particular case, is the access to funding, the fund of this project, because these are the revolving fund. Is there the revolving fund that we have put in place about the project? My previous interveners raised the same question. The project, the donors are installed, but to have access to the revolving fund, I don't know what is your example.
Alors, Madame
Sonia KOUASSI, you have the floor. The assistant is listening to you.
Pourquoi la création de l'ANPE?
Why the creation of ANPE? Talking about this revolving, the management of waste in Abidjan is not with the municipalities. We have the various structures that are doing the collection of waste in the various neighborhoods. And this is for quite a long time ago. When there's youth structures, each Ivorian pays the collection of the waste. There's also an invoice for when it comes to the collection of waste. Through the markets that are coming 2 or 3 times a week for collection. And the second point, ANPE is also working with the sanitation collection, also collect waste And this is also part of the activities of ANAJEP. And this is not a creation as such. This takes into account the dynamization case. So, for the creation of 6,000 employment, the center, the Valuation Center for Waste Management, the one who has taken over the creation of the center was a very huge enthusiasm. If we had to create a center for management, there was to take into account this aspect regarding the funding. There's first of all the collection, these are employment, and those who also are sweeping. This is about the employment creation. And Abidjan, this service is also existent there. So, and this is taken into serious account when it comes to the management of the waste. This takes, it mobilizes more. So this, everything is not yet digitalized. So if we create all this is to take into account the situation on the ground. This is direct and indirect. Why the creation of the agency? We talked about this. Particularly, we have the same history through the past with the consumption. When we take ANPE, there was a fund allocated to this under the self-employment. We had a fund that was in charge of the SMEs, and also a fund that was in charge of arts, another fund in charge of the youth. So the state of Côte d'Ivoire deemed it plenty. So they have gathered all and created the agency that was created in 2015 throughout the country. So, and this is represented at the level of the country. So we also have a long way to go too. So under this is the segment of the employment. Indeed, it is clear we are doing this work with the entrepreneurship. We are not working alone. We are working with the private enterprises. We are all in the state of Côte d'Ivoire. We intervene all within the same segment regarding employment. So it is the collection of the data that facilitated creation of employment, youth employment. And there's also a committee, employment committee, to see what was the creation of the employment during the year. And we have agents. So with the various projects. So we cannot also impede youth to create employment. So it is to have, let's say, to have a focus on this. So, and to know how many employments were created. The accompaniment we are giving to the youth we are talking about the development of competence or capacity building. The complementary training of youth, we are doing this, secretariat, the accountancy. So this also facilitate the access to the world market. So, and there's also internship for youth, those who have already finished through the internship. And so some get their first employment after their internship. So, and there are some youth that are also doing job during the school holidays. There's also the entrepreneurship training. So the access to credit or loans after all various reforms. This year we had various components, the micro enterprises with some project, roughly 1 million francs CFA. So you can also benefit from some funding. So when it comes to this with COPEC, which is also a branch, which is also represented throughout the country. So we also take into account the council, youth council. We delegated also one that is represented at the youth council. And this council of youth is also giving us a guarantee. We have collected or get about 5 million for over a period of 2 years. So those who work as those from Mali are doing. So to have access to credit or loans, the project takes into account the risk and take into account also the funding aspect. We also had the partnership with Orange up to 500,000. So those who are up to 1 million, those who are in need of money to increase their storage. So there's also guarantee. So, and this is a very much detailed. What are the criteria of feasibility? So regarding the youth employment, so we focused on this point. And anything concerning the youth employment, anything concerning or regarding the youth project. Why ONFLA? ONFLA is a municipality from Côte d'Ivoire. Abidjan, the waste management is in charge of ANAGEB. ANAGEB is managed by enterprises. ONFLA is a municipality in the northern side of Côte d'Ivoire. ONFLA with some, when we go Tito, everyone knows Kiko. The Timoko, we are doing like sweeping 6 months in the year. The commune of Umufla decided to help for the creation regarding the collection and the processing, waste processing. So, and the ANAGEB accepted, the embassy of Egypt accepted it, and the center was created to create there was also a public service, and they have inserted or integrated about 10 youth. It is not only Omofla, there's also Yamskuro. There are also 2 other towns or cities that are going to create also the centers. The aim is also each municipality has a waste management unit or center. At the level of Anaja, we talk about destruction of employment. In Abidjan, as I said, the youth are doing the collection. Those youth, they are recruited by enterprises for collection. So the enterprises, whenever they deal with the population, so it is not all the neighborhood that are also involved. So when it comes to this in Abidjan, so then there's no destruction, but also, rather the creation of employment. Yeah, Mr. Sidibe. The employment agency, youth employment agency is under the supervision of the ministry in charge of the public service. There's also the Ministry for Employment. The Ministry for Employment in charge of these 40 years ago. They are in charge of no-employers cases and those seeking for their first employment. So, and this is not concerned when it comes to the direct employment, and those are taken these are taken into account or in charge of the Ministry of Employment. There are also some structural programs. There are programs for vulnerable people. We can have a statistic. We have some cases regarding, we have age limitations also. Can we join our hands so this is from Ouedraogo. We are going to give him the floor. Madam Ouedraogo, you have the floor. Thank you. This is a small correction with some number of populations that have an employment and of a certain age, or the population is in charge of this. This is been a very small, let's say, correction. Thank you. Precision, very important. We are going to give the floor to the last, to the third and last panelist. There's a person that is not around. We will listen to Mr. Bithoko Ntikiyanza, Director of Studies and Planning at the National Office for Employment from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Thank you. We are about 100 million inhabitants, and 2,345,000 square kilometers. And we have 26 provinces. We have departments too. We have 26 provinces. I'm going to focus on the activities, actions, and prospects, and also add some activities carried out by the government, and together with our institution, with other international institutions. And so in the summary, we have 5 points: a presentation of our ONEM, definition of green employment, actions, prospects of ONEM, support from the Congolese government, and opportunities in the DRC regarding green employment. First of all, ONEM, we have known a change at the management level, and the Director General since July 2023 is Beya Gome is the Managing Director. We have all the political authorities are not washed out. We the technicians, we are here. There has been change only at the management level. We hope that all the Congolese population would like us to continue our mission. So it's only the managing director that has been changed. Now, our country has the public services of employment have some conventions. Our country has ratified the Convention 88 in 1961. In 2001, we have been, our service have been called National Service of Employment (SENEM) under the chairmanship of the Ministry of Employment. It's in 2002, and the NM was created. ONEM, the National Office of Employment. It's a public body which has its financial and administrative autonomy and has a legal personality. At the end of 2022, up to 2023, we have 903 staff. Half of them are found in the capital city, Kinshasa. And ONEM has been implemented in 22 over 26 provinces with a central office in Kinshasa, 22 regional offices, which are provincial offices, and 8 local offices disseminated throughout in zones where there is high economic activities. Regarding the provisional projects in 2023, we had a forecasted budget of $22 million, and for 2024 we have elaborated a projected budget which is $240 million that have been adopted. What we call employment, green employment. Mr. Sidibe yesterday made that presentation. For a position, we have green employment, we have regarding the, it is characterized by the employment, green employment, as for now, do not require high qualifications. These are employments that we can
nous occupons de tous.
What we can all do, but we would like to add a competence, environmental competence, so that we are qualified to render this and do it professionally. What are the actions and prospects? Because we have explained. First of all, we are elaborating the data for the green employment for the formal and informal sector. Most of the actors of the formal sector are more focused on the green employment, and we have separated this one group that is in the for the formal and the other one in the informal green employment. So I think that we are almost at the end. If we can find in a few months, we can present it to you, the situation, and then you will share it in the framework of information sharing. Since January 2023, we have created a center at the ONEM and for a center for the information on employment, green employment center. We have planned a training only the actors that exploit that are disseminated, and we would like with this center to gather everybody so that we are on the same page and have the same word and the same ideas. All the actions carried out in this sense will be gathered around this center. We have launched a program for the rehabilitation of rivers in big towns and green spaces, and for sanitation and processing of waste and the pollution processing and protection of nature, which employs around 10,000 youth. The other green employments also, most of the youth focus on the jobs for maintaining public spaces and evacuation of waste and sanitation of water. Since 2019, we have used about 5,000 youth. And in order to expand the notion of green employment in collaboration with universities in the framework of this option, we are employing in the sensitization and the competence in all the universities. It's like we have introduced the notion of how to avoid HIV. We would like this desensitization be cross-cutting so that everybody be informed about it, and this must be a dimension that will cover that will be benefit to the country for the sanitation and space cleaning. What are the support from the government? We have just listed few. First of all, worldwide, in the process of energy transition, all the countries are concerned. It is necessary to quickly adapt. In order to adapt, there is a need to reinforce the legislation. We have to elaborate a sustainable development policy to contribute to fight against the climate change, and also put in place additional subventions and take into account offered opportunities for the new mode of consumption. The DRC is a country of the continent that has youth between 14 to 25 years, 35. It's 14, not 1425, but 1425 as a solution regarding the ecology. DRC in the transfer of competence, the initiative are the following. First of all, we have the ANPE, National Institute for the Professional Preparation, which is a part, and the ONEM is a part that deals with professional training. I am compelled to stand up because there is no cable here. So, beside my job at ONEM, I am a university teacher. There is a professional training program on the model, on the management of ecosystems, the renewable energies, ecological construction, and sustainable agriculture. This initiative has been launched since 2019, and the youth are really focused on it. The green employment are created, and the activities are the following: the sanitation, waste recycling, and also from the government, in collaboration with ONEM, created a company called Bithoko. A company called Bithoko. Bithoko means in Laga Kinshasa Bithoko. Kinshasa Bithoko in French. Kinshasa is beautiful. So Bithoko does the collector and the recycling of waste that participate in the sanitation of Kinshasa town by reducing the risk of disease, and also process 5,000 tons of waste. We have 50 sites that employ 10 youth, 10 staff by site. We have a private company that produces plastic objects that evolves thanks to the gathered materials through the plastic waste recycling, and these materials are used for making bottles or PVC pipes. This project is limited to towns because the plastic waste are produced in every step in the town. So these sites are everywhere. In the informal sector, and this company can even produce PVC pipes and also other materials. Regarding the informal sector, the individual employments, most of the time is carried out through associated activities. There are many employments. Most of the time it is carried out. The activities are associated to the environment and also the preservation of resources and the sustainability of environment. For instance, agricultural entrepreneurship, youth, women, vulnerable people are now focusing to the agricultural entrepreneurship. We have also environmental education, informal activities that have mutually, some do mission of sensitization, etc., etc.
Les métiers liés à la protection
Jobs related to the protection of environment, protection of nature, and processing of waste, and the industry, tourism, research, building, and transport. These are both jobs for formal and informal sectors. We try to analyze and exploit and separate in order to present what belongs to the informal sector, what belongs to the formal sector, in order to reinforce the fight against the climate change and others. In collaboration with UNDP, the DRC focused on actions, particularly on the nationalization for the sustainable usage of natural resources. And also the fight against such climate change. There are some actions of the government that are carried out in this sense, and it is also expanded to the NGOs and personal activities. DRC is supported through PNUD, through the environmental, agricultural, ministries and also ministries of administration. We have the civil society and as actors of the private sector. All these are the actors that UNDP engage in the country in order to deal with this the green employment. With the African Development Bank, DRC is supported for the operation of the national project, the project called PESAB, National Project for Entrepreneurship, Youth Entrepreneurship in the agro-business through the following interventions. First of all, there has been the sensitization of the youth on the opportunity to create SMEs in the agropastoral and halieutic sectors. We have the breeding, fishery, and there have been also the technical training, managerial. 6,000 youth have been selected, shortlisted, that benefited from a training through each value that is presented here. And also we have the support to the installation of youth enterprises and development of partnership with the networks of supply and distribution, the acquisition of land and fund access. If they are supported by the BAD, the African Development BAD, the government work with an ONEM, because ONEM is a stakeholder of the project. We have, as for the development of partnership with, we have started this one since 2021. Okay. For the legal framework for the green economy or employment, the DRC ratified conventions from Rio de Janeiro in 1992. DRC implement agreements, bilateral and multilateral agreements signed and ratified. This is a summary. We present the activities field that create more employment in DRC, that developed green employments. In DRC, we have 7 big domains with activity growth, mining activities, trade, transport, construction, agriculture, and finance. But if we have tried to put these side by side, we have activities, domain of activities with growth of employment. But beside, we have some sectors that employ with growth employment for green employment. We have sanitation, cleaning, and development of informal units. So at this level, in this framework of activities, we find green employments too. If we have the opportunity of a DRC regarding green employment, what are the figures? We have talked about 2,205,000 square kilometers, the forest superficie, forest space, which is presented as an opportunity, 166,000 hectares, million hectares, and the total estimated population, 102 million, that active population estimated by the World Bank. 43% in urban area, and the urban population represent 43%, and the non-exploited mining resources are evaluated to $25 billion. Water resources, 52% of water reserves of Africa, 23% of resources of renewable internal resources. And the vascular plants, we have 10,000 species for plants. We have also the 24 species, mammifers, 43 reptiles, 300 species, birds, 1,100 species, and fish, and 900 species. All these resources can create green jobs. The main economic activities are summarized as 46% for the industry, 32% for agriculture, and 21%. In conclusion, we can say that DRC is the richest country regarding the biological biodiversity in the continent. It is covered in a mosaic of ecosystem with dense forests, savanna, humid zones, mountains, and active volcano. We have all. You said that you have savanna and forest here, but we have everything. The DRC is comprised of 60% of forest basins of Congo, which is the second, the biggest forest, tropical humid forest in the world. This can help to create green jobs, and also the ecosystem provide also an opportunity for the hydric and also opportunities for the green employment. So thank you. So as we did for Congo, so figures are very, very huge, but we're going to remain in the same logic. You have the floor. Those who would like to ask questions.
Bonsoir.
Evening, everybody.
Je suis
Mbondo Etunzi from Cameroon, National Fund of Employment. Your presentation is huge, but when we talk about employment or green employment, since a few moments, Do you have any funding problems? In your presentation, you said that your budget 2022 it was $22 million for 2023, and you have a budget projected budget for $240 million for 2024. My question is, if it is this budget is agreed and from projected, isn't it an error? I don't know. If yes, we have how you can pass from a budget of a simple budget 22 million to $240 million. How do you these figures have changed? Thank you.
Bonsoir.
Evening, everybody.
Moi, c'est avocat Sidiki
Sidiki Kamara.
Je suis le directeur général.
Managing Director, Deputy Managing Director, Guinean Agency for the Implementation of Public Interest for Employment. I would like to know, we were told in geography that the DRC is a very rich country. I think that there are many mining companies in that country. I would like to know what is the share that the mining companies provide as their share for the protection of the environment. Secondly, I don't know if it is the same reality in the other countries, but if I take the example of Guinea, the public service of employment, or the public services in a general way, cannot most of the time to have a coordination for the intervention. When I take, for instance, our management is under the Ministry of Youth and Sport. And as we are the one who lead the National Police of Youth, most of the time we see partners that intervene in the ground without passing through the public structures. This create a problem of updating of statistics. In your country, is there any coordination regarding the interventions for the public actors or public or private actors? Thank you. A good question, Mr. Bithoko. Just I'm going to remind you that we have panel 3.
Merci beaucoup,
thank you, Mr. the presenter from DRC. Through the slides, we have seen many statistics that existed, and there has been some projections. I would like to know if the DRC, we were told that it's the second this immense forest is the biggest in the world. We find that your forest is having a big pressure, and it is a lungs, the biggest lungs in the world. And through the fraudulent tree cuts, all the employments that you have presented are linked to the sanitation, related to other activities. But I haven't seen employments, green employments that is related to reforestation or the preservation of this forest. Can you tell us what the DRC has planned for the privatization of the forest in the DRC. Thank you. Sometimes it's comme si je suis I really don't hear her. Her voice is very low. What strategy? What strategy can we put in place? My concerns is related to the informal sector. A big part of it, as we are talking about the promotion of the green employment, what strategy can we put in place in order to promote the green employment in the informal sector? So thank you. I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Sambala SIDIBE and then to Mr. SIDIBE too. The mic. The mic. I'm going to congratulate the presenter for the presentation. I would like to understand the sanitation or the cleaning of water. Is it a source of the is listed the cleaning of water, the sanitation of wastewater. He talked about it, the wastewater processing. He talked about it. I want him to. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Congratulations to Mr. Bithoko for the quality of his presentation. And in that presentation, I return a certain number of big ideas to which he started. It is the elaboration of the database for the green employment. It is very important as an initiative. And secondly, the creation of a study center and for the training on the green employment, if I understood well, and also the integration in the university and academic curricula of modules on the technological, environmental, is it projections or initiative that have already been launched by ONEM, or these strategic elements of a strategic development plan of ONEM on the issue of green employment? I would like to be enlightened. These are ideas that can be useful for all the participants. Thank you. That can be noted as recommendations for this regional meeting. Thank you. And so I think that we're going to close the serial of questions with the intervention of Mr. Mr. Bithoko, you have the floor. Thank you. We have received about 7 questions. Regarding the budget, which is very high, it's not. It's very ambitious, yes. But in 2002, since 2002, we see the reality of Africa. Since 2002 and 2012, we operated as a body of salary without funding. It's from 2012 we got a contribution of managers for our salary scale. And from 2012 to 2022, with the Ministry of Employment, if we present a budget, one of the ministers from 2012 to 2022, he responded through written. He told us, stop dreaming. We have presented a very high budget. Then he asked us to stop dreaming. The employment was not a priority at that time. And we have progressed like this. The budgets, the very few budgets, they just change administratively in the budgets, meaning acquisition, for instance, for a new management for a department, and the minister from this can say, okay, you can set up the office of the ONEM, say what we wanted to do on the technical side, they don't accept. We remain in the logic of an institution, of a body that didn't deal really with the employment issues. So today, with the new management, since 2022, it's in 2023 that we install the board of directors. We were operating without a board of directors, and the person who used to be the board of director is the minister who benefits alone as a board of director. And so today, the board of directors has been set up, and we were compelled, and the board compelled to increase the budget and to put all particularly the technical part that was not taken into consideration in the previous budgets, and it was just the administrative part. That's why you can see in times 11, if we benefit from this budget, in Restore, we requested the increase because the minimum, I don't know, in your countries, we said that in the minimum in our countries is 1%. We benefit from 0.2% of the company's salary scale. We asked the increase of the contribution, patronal contribution to 3%. Normally, we know that we need 1, but if you say to the politics you need 1, they will give you 0.03. But that's why we propose 3. That's why we put in the budget $240 million. It's as you know, when you touch the question, I just respond openly because we are among us here. We propose that budget because we know that they will reduce by through the adoption. So on this issue, in Kinshasa, we have decided to organize a workshop in Gabon that will gather to harmonize the mechanism of funding of public employment services for the two Congos and Cameroon. So there is a contribution in the EPS text. In Benin and Gabon, it's not the same case. There is a subvention of the government in those countries. And so we have to be able, we think that in parallel we have to set up a platform for the ministers in charge of employment, the ministers in charge of employment of these two structures, so that the ministers of trade, they have platforms that exist, but there is no platform for the ministers in charge of employment. So we asked, so each EPS take into account the participation of his minister. So it is planned that this gathering will be held in Gabon in 2024 in order to harmonize our policies. In order to be complete, Mr. Moderator, because you're talking about this ambitious program of the African region, since the days despite the number of EPS members. In terms, we are the second region that is more represented in the. We have 37, and we have 20 in terms of innovation, in terms of planning of development, in terms of progress. The region ambitions or plans to be the most performing one. We have the employment public services that are evolving. We do not have the same resources. We do not have the same structure. We do not have the same organization. As the director said, the executive committee held in Kinshasa on 18-19 October 2022 made a big presentation, and Gabon is a candidate to host this workshop that will do the harmonization of funding mechanism of our EPS in order to host the consultation workshop of ministers in charge of employment and social inclusion. We have seen in his presentation that the collect of our funds is done by another structure of social protection that do the collection and give it to our structures. And at this workshop, as you are the managers of your EPS or your representative duly mandated, is to plan yourself in the prospects of holding these two important frameworks for the EPS. And we have reached, as the managing director is at a level, and he has the technicians that are working for the mobilization of these resources. At least each managing director will be accompanied, should be accompanied by his director of finance or accounting, and also his director or his advisor of legal issues. So in Libreville, we would like to come out with concrete proposals for EPS for our government, so that when the ministers gather, we'll have the same word and go to the implementation of the recommendations. Thank you. Just an information. In the ECOWAS, there is a consultation framework within the ECOWAS for the a platform for the ministers of employment. I don't know if we're going to harmonize. I know there is a consultation framework for the UMR. So LASEPS is 20 countries, WAPES is 20 countries. It's true that the consultation framework of ministers of employment and professional employment, it can serve as an example, but we will say the ministers in charge of questions of employment and social protection. So the consultation, UMR consultation, the social issue is not taken into consideration. Thank you. Second question, DRC mining company, what the mining companies are providing for the protection of environment? The mining company, 4 or 5, plus the other small created here and there. And there are many mining companies. These companies, they have conventions signed with the Congolese government, and they give funds for activities related that are key core activities of the government. Among them, the employment is part of it. And as This is a political issue. I'm a technician, I'm not a politician, and I respond to the technical questions. As EPS, the coordination of intervention of the private and public actors, if those partners intervene or not. As the moderator said, in Gabon, this issue will be processed there. And we would like to propose that we are expecting everyone to give us precision so that we have an idea on the practice, how it goes. Maybe we can inspire from. But the partners exist, they intervene at a different level, at political, technical levels, and at local levels. They intervene in collaboration or not with the public employment services. It depends on the value. It's like when we have, before 2018, we had a workshop in Nairobi on the market job. 2 or 3 companies gave us their experience on the program for youth employment, and we took this experience, we brought it in our country, we wrote, and finally the partners responded. And since 2016 or 15, 2016 with the African Development Bank that funded projects for the employment, insert youth that are seeking employment for 6 months, and then acquire a certificate of internship to say that if they seek another employment, if an experience is requested, this youth could be shortlisted and get employment. These are things that were done, and there are some such kind of projects with initiative that come and that we miss. I think that we can have a talk on the intervention of the public and international partners in this sector. The statistics exist. We said that we have statistics. We haven't seen. We said that we just took few actions of the government. Madame said previously that we can replant. This is a convention, and these forest companies, this is what they do. They replant. But when we present it in the documents, we take an expert in order to undermine it sometimes. Even in some films we have, the law is here to replant, for the replanting of urban spaces. There is an initiative of local NGOs with our youth that are replanting the urban sites, because we have noticed that the trees are cut everywhere and they build houses, and now there is heat, and we would like so everything is destroyed. So and we have a policy for the replanting, not a strategy for the informal sector. Regarding the green employment, we said that we are conducting a study on the green employment for the informal. It's during that assessment that we're going to understand the level of green employment. By observation, we have, we can call it, when you go to people we can say it's an economy. If you see something made through clay and there is less heat, these are the green jobs, but we do not have all the data. We don't have all the data. And we're going to see how, we know that there are many jobs in the informal sector. 80% of we are all, if we meet like this, it is very important to share ideas. Sanitation or cleaning of water. What is it? Wastewater. We are in an aspect, we have rivers where everybody drop everything. So from the water sources and to the flow of water, everywhere you have waste. We are preparing means and try to extract water in these rivers for other uses, and these rivers must be cleaned. That's why we talked about cleaning water, particularly in the rivers.
Centre d'études, répertoire des emplois verts,
green employment, environmental competence, initiative and prospects, action and perspective of ONEM. We put it all, we explained it, and then we said this is an action, this is a prospect. Regarding recommendations, the study center, and there are two, the center and the integration of environmental competence. This is a study program, a curricula that we are trying to request from the universities. We are talking with the universities, and together their board of directors, they are going to send it to the ministry, and the ministry is going to accept it, to say that we accept this reform in the education. But we have launched that for the curricula we are working on it, and for the database we are working. The center is already open. Between February and March we have a workshop that will gather all the actors related to renewable energy, and even the international NGOs that are dealing with this issue. All of us will gather in order to focus all the efforts with the center and try to train, why not the workers, why not the youth that are seeking job, a kind of technique of employment search. So this is in a summary way all the response of all the 7 questions that have been put to me. If you are not satisfied, the DRC team is here. They will provide a response. Thank you. And so regarding the cleaning of water, I was thinking about the creation of the sanitation of fecal logs or something like that. I was thinking about it, or processing of wastewater, but it is clear that. Thank you. Thanks to all the panelists. We have a stake that was to be able to review Jamena recommendations in 5 minutes because there is a third panel that will present. Because we have the recommendations of Jamena is favor to put in place of platform of green initiative, identify training needs for the green economy, propose a package for persons that would like to focus on the green jobs, promote the scientification of the green sector. I think that on this topic I think we have many things to do. Talking about the market that is more, that is really requesting. And also we talk about the certification, involve the public services for the project design. We have had 3 EPS. We have ANPE from Mali, ONEM from Grand DRC, IRC from Cote d'Ivoire. I'm sure that if AGIP or PPP from Gabon, AP from Benin, LP from Cameroon, there have been initiatives. This means that the trend is good, and there have been things that have been done, and the normative framework has evolved. There are some laws in some countries, agencies have been set up. We have seen the case with the office biodigester, so forth. These are initiatives. What we can, what is our takeaway? I propose the following. Quantitative approach, we can see that this history of a job, green job, there will be some companies that will go to the solar, but it will also entrepreneurs will be involved that can be trained in order to install domestic panels. One of our challenges is to gather all the public services of employment in their mission to support or to promote the self-entrepreneurship and in our countries to see at the training centers in the curricula, pedagogic curricula, to see this entrepreneurship in order to develop the entrepreneurship culture with the partners. But we have also a second reality, that it's the access to funding that we need to find a strategy. Mali has some limits. They have experimented internal funding, but we for the uncollected loans with 700 million CFA and the recourse to the guarantee funds, how to define mechanism that facilitate to the access of funding. We have also seen the notion of sensitization. It's from the DRC. We sensitize from the students in order to integrate the ecological competence in the environmental dimension, in order to make it as green jobs. We have noticed it, data of green jobs, and most of all, 50% are informal. So from that note, it is important, if we would like to structure and move from the informal to formal, in order to have the data of the informal, in order to support them, for a decent work, it must provide them with a social statute. Can you give the mic?
That permit to have this program. Thank you. Salut. I think that at our level in Chad, there's also a project we're founding over there. So in Chad, I think there's something we need to take into account when we take the agriculture, the breeding that are also very interesting field or sector in Chad. So all we need to do is to organize the founding aspect of this. So we even presented in 2018 a project regarding some recommendations. So we try to take into account the creation of an agency regarding the planning of the economic zone. So this takes into account this project we initiated in 2002. So, and this is today put in place, being implemented in the country, in the eastern side of the country. So, and we have to develop the breeding, the production, taking into account the transformation of the product. So there's there are some direct employment that are created from this activity when we talk about breeding. So all we need to do for now is to work with the various actors to have industries that are also working in this sector, taking into account the renewable energy, taking into account also the activities that we are doing in Central Africa. So, and this is taken into consideration a part of Kinshasa. So I think that this is something we need to take into account. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this initiative, which is very interesting. So when we referred to the training we had in Jamena, it takes into account this component. It is to see what we said in Jamena. So we take into account this aspect today for taking this. So now, if we give everyone the floor, is to see what we can do, what we can get from their experience at the level of Jamena. We talked about this aspect. There's also a need for promoting the certification, and this is something very important to be taken into account today. And so, as we know, we are trying to take this very important aspect into consideration today when coming to funding. And the funding is very important. So, and people have to access funding when it comes to project. So, and it was the case in Gabon, in some other countries. I think there was also a project initiated since 2011, and we have some objectives that we need to take into serious account. When we take loans, the access to loans, it is also important to know what we are making, what use we are making of it. So now, I think we also have to take into consideration the activities we have. Thank you, Mr. the Moderator. The Secretariat is assured by AGIP. I think all the participants that have proposals, recommendations, because we listen. We are not listening with the same ears.
we do not have the same interest center. So we have our personal viewpoint, and I think AGIP, the Secretariat, is going to note down the various recommendations and proposals. Thank you very much for your presentations. Thank you. Thank you.